put a picture of your face on an ape's body. And so again, this is kind of, we've seen the de-evolution of the discourse. How do we come back from a place that we have fallen into?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to recognize that the majority of the American people find this behavior deeply troubling. It is true that it gets attention. It's true that it's a distraction. But, as I'm traveling around the country, as you're traveling around the country, you meet people. They still believe in decency, courtesy, kindness. And there's this sort of clown show that's happening in social media and on television. And what is true is that there doesn't seem to be any shame about this among people who used to feel like you had to have some sort of decorum and a sense of propriety and respect for the office, right? So that's been lost. But the reason I point out that I don't think the majority of the American people approve of this is because ultimately the answer is going to come from the American people.
Come on, does Obama deserve an apology from Trump because of that ape video being shared?
I mean, actually, hell no, he not gonna get one. He using them big ass words though and shit. He trying to talk to the common people using propriety and preposterous and shit. Come on, man. All these big ass words. But my thing is this though, like, was it a little racist? Yeah, it could be perceived that way, but he did have hella other Democrats having monkey faces on him and shit. So at the end of the day, I still think Donald Trump a honky at the end of the day, but he a funny honky. You feel me? And he's sliding us some shit from time to time. So that's how I feel about it. Is he gonna get an apology? Not at all.
So the big thing that came out, Obama said aliens exist.
Real.
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
Doc, do aliens exist?
I think with how vast the solar system is and so much going on out there, I don't know if like the ideal we have of aliens exists, but I think it would be naive of us to believe that we're the only beings that are in this galaxy. And even if they're microorganisms or anything like that, that would still be considered an alien. So do I think there are other life forms on other planets? Of course, they might not be in the perception we have. Like we have this idea of these man-made, they all stand up and walk, or they have some sort of limbs or something. So I do believe that there could be some other life form somewhere in the solar system. I just we don't have enough information. They haven't shown us that we have the capability to go to these places and completely like land there and get the full information.
So we talked about Bad Bunny extensively. This is what Obama had to say about him.
Does the mean, angry,
demagoguery,
exclusive, us, them, divisive politics. That's their home court.
Yeah.
Our court is coming together. Our court is, look, a great example. Wasn't political. Bad Bunny's halftime show.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Well, it resonated. It was smart because it wasn't preaching. It was showing. It was demonstrating and displaying. This is what a community is. And people who did not speak Spanish and have never been to Puerto Rico, they saw that elderly woman serving a drink and the kids dancing with their grandmas, and it was intergenerational, and it was a reminder of what Dr. King called the beloved community can look like, which is not perfect, and it's messy sometimes, and You know, I guarantee you, not all those lyrics were probably politically correct, and if you translated them, and you know, they're people are complicated, but there was a sense of, all right, there's room for everybody here.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is where we win.
So Slim, that was one of the times that you didn't go with what MAGA said. You said you didn't mind the halftime Super Bowl show. So I know you're not a big Obama fan. So why do you feel like, the halftime Super Bowl show was so divisive? And do you feel like Obama was right with what he said, with the right being like more vitriol with hatred? You muted, Slim.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, that shit is pretty much irrelevant, because what they doing is just keeping the divisive shit going by continuously talking about it. The reality was the game was trash. As a football fan, you probably don't want to see that game again. As a halftime show individual, you probably don't want to see that type of halftime show again. I don't think it was nothing wrong with it. I was more disappointed in the actual game. But that's what the hell I waited 16 weeks to see. I ain't care about Bad Bunny. I ain't care. I didn't really get into it. But to continuously talk about it, it just goes to show where the divisiveness is coming from. That's just what they do. That's how they get down.
I feel you. This is what Obama had to say about ICE.
Behavior of agents of the federal government is deeply concerning and dangerous. But we should take a moment to appreciate the extraordinary outpouring of organizing, community building, decency, citizens saying, this is not the America we believe in, and we're going to fight back, and we're going to push back with the truth, and with cameras, and with peaceful protests, and shining a light on the sort of behavior that in the past we've seen in authoritarian countries, and we've seen in dictatorships, but we have not seen in America. And that kind of heroic, sustained behavior in sub-zero weather by ordinary people is what should give us hope. And it should remind us that at the end of the day, the way we get a democracy that's working, the way we get policies that actually are helping working families get ahead, the way that we restore norms, rule of law, decency, it's going to be because we citizens are activated and paying attention.
How the fuck did he deport 3 million people? Like, that's what he should be saying. Like, how the fuck did you do it? We're listening, but he won't say that.
He did it a lot smoother though, Slim, because you don't know how he did it, but you know it got done, huh? You ain't see it on. You ain't see it on the news. You ain't see people putting the videos up, but it happened.
That's so what I'm saying. So that's the whole difference, yo. That's the whole difference.
That's the biggest difference. Smooth operating.
That's the only difference.
That's a smooth operating.
The reality is, he already stood for what's going on today. I got videos. He should have been like, yo, man, when I did it like this. That's what he should have said.
He didn't say he stood against what was going on.
But my point is, Doc, my point is, he is the biggest deportation dude in America. He's the man, right? All that shit he's talking about right now is irrelevant. What he should be saying is how the fuck he did it. That's what we want to know. If it's like this, how the fuck you did it?
This is what it is, Slim, and I don't think this is a left or a right, a Democrat, Republican thing. Why these dudes who lead in the country? No, I'm saying, why these dudes who lead in the country, if you know someone did something well, why they can't? They supposed to be for America. Why these dudes can't sit down, have a conversation, and say, bro, how did you get that done? And they sat down at I forgot which president, H.W. Bush's funeral. They sat side by side. They could have shared game right then. Why these dudes who are in charge of this country that should be working for us, and that ain't Trump, Obama, or That's all of them who are in some sort of office, Congress, Senate, everyone. Why are these people not working together to figure out a good system that works for us? If they got some sort of insight.
And the reason being, the way he was able to do it, more people loved him at the time. Everybody hates Trump today.
Well, and it's in the news because Dot literally just talked about an ICE agent deleting the teacher right before we got on here. So it's kind of wild. But this is what Obama had to say about Trump.
President of the United States, I suppose I could have simply unilaterally ordered the military to, go into some red state and harass and intimidate a governor there, or cut off funding for states that didn't vote for me. I could have exercised that prerogative, but that is contrary to how I think our democracy is supposed to work. And I think we shouldn't get discouraged by the fact that we have a tougher job. What we should do is expect that our side is smart enough to figure it out.
So, Kamal, what y'all gonna do when Gavin Newsom do what Trump did to y'all?
We're gonna fuck with his hair products, make that nigga go bald. But anyway, hey, I gotta agree with you, Doc, bro. Like, they could come together and spit game. They be right there. They all in the same inner circles and shit. You feel me? And Slim, you correct, bro. Like Obama, like the fucking Michael Jordan and deport niggas. What y'all forgetting though to see is that this nigga smooth as hell. I see why he got voted as president. Obama was making that bullshit speech sound beautiful. I almost had to vote for this nigga again. I'm like, God damn. Bro out here shit spit. He makes shit that usually is just boring, weak as hell. He make it sound hella beautiful. See, Trump, though, he come with the funny, though. He come with the entertainment aspect. So that's how I see how he got voted for president at this point. Let's be real, man. Politics is just entertainment at this point. You feel me? So I don't know. Gavin Newsom, try to do some bullshit, bro. We're gonna fuck with your skincare, nigga.
Well, Slim brought up a good point. He said that the guy gave no pushback on Obama, so he was interviewed about that.
This first point of where he just casually reveals, yeah, there are aliens. You've been criticized for not then saying, what? Doing an Oprah in the Harry and Meghan interview. What? Why didn't you do a follow-up to the aliens confession of the former president of the United States?
It seemed clear to me when he said, yes, but I haven't seen them, there's no Area 51, that he was saying, that he was expressing his belief in the concept of aliens, but that he made it clear enough, at least to me, that he doesn't believe in that there wasn't any evidence of some government facility that was housing aliens. Obviously, if there were aliens and he was interested in seeing them, which he clearly was, and if the government had them, then he wouldn't have said that he hadn't seen them or that the U.S. government doesn't know about them, or that, if they were there, it would be evidence of some grand conspiracy where even the president of the United States wasn't aware of them. And so that was clear to me in the moment. It was clarified and proven in his clarification that that you put on the screen right here. So I just, it just made enough sense to me that in the moment, okay, I get what he's saying. Obviously, you don't always know when you do these interviews what's going to pop off and how people are going to perceive stuff, and you do your best in the moment. And look, in retrospect, would I have asked the follow-up? Yes, of course. And frankly, that's something that I'm just going to have to live with. And there is a lot of criticism, and that sucks. But that's how it goes in politics. I'm sure that you've had interview guests and you've wanted to ask a question that you didn't have the foresight or whatever to ask. And again, that's something that I'm going to have to live with. But I am grateful that he issued the clarification.
Well, for the record, Brian.
Yeah.
For the record, what would now you've had time to think about it, what would your follow-up have been?
I think the follow-up would have been, when you say yes, what do you mean? And frankly, look, again, I own that. That's something that I'm going to have to live with. I've interviewed over 1,000 people at this point. I've never been accused of not being curious enough or not doing adequate follow-ups. But look, all it takes is one. With that said, I think I've heard from so many people in the alien community, which I didn't understand was this vibrant, thriving community online. And so there are other questions I actually would have asked, which is, does the government have evidence of UFOs or UAPs? There's a whole deep dive I would have done. And frankly, this was during a speed round. I would have nixed the entire speed round and just gone on a deep dive into aliens. But, hindsight is 2020.
All right, Slim. People mad at him for not even asking the question about aliens. So, do you feel like after hearing him say that, him not asking about the deporter in chief question is legitimate because he didn't even push back on the alien stuff?
It's a moment. I mean, we all go through that. Even if you're talking to a girl, it might be something you forget to ask a girl at the moment. And then you can always go back home and reflect on it. I should have said this. That's a human response. We can't fault him for that. I mean, Piers Morgan is Piers Morgan, so everybody can't be Piers. I understand what Piers may have done, but you can't do people like that and hold them accountable on that level. You know what I mean? Let people do what they got to do. You know what I'm saying?